Jesus Christ was beaten, mocked, and misunderstood. He endured the cross and despised the shame. Though the King of Kings, he was persecuted and died for our sake.
In this world we will face tribulation, but you promise you'll be right here with us.
And he said to his followers, "If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also." And to this day, all over the world, they still do.
Nothing can separate us from the love of Jesus. If our God is for us, we are not alone.
But Jesus promised more, that those who suffer for his name's sake would not be forgotten, not by God, and not by the family of God. The Voice of the Martyrs was founded by a persecuted Christian as well. Richard Wurmbrand reached out for Christ to the Nazis in the early 1940s when they came into his native Romania. He felt a calling to reach out to atheists for Christ. He prayed for opportunities to share Christ with the Russians as well. And when the Soviet communists entered into Romania in 1944, they came right to his doorstep. Richard boldly witnessed to them as well. And just as Jesus promised, they hated him for it. He was arrested and sent to prison for a total of 14 years, often in solitary confinement, often tortured. Through it all, he held on to his love for God and committed to witness for Christ in word and deed, even to his torturers. In 1967, Richard, now free from jail and out of Romania, founded an organization committed to sharing the stories of others who, like him, were being jailed, persecuted, tortured, or killed for their faith. He often quoted Hebrews 13:3, "Remember those in prison as if you were in prison with them." That organization today is operating in 68 countries around the world, in regions that are dangerous, in countries that are restricted, reaching out through persecution response, through Bible distribution, and through frontline ministry. That organization is committed to stand with their persecuted family by saying, "We will not let them suffer in silence. We will not let them serve alone."
From the love of Jesus, if our God is for us, we are not alone. Nothing can separate us from the love of Jesus. If our God is for us, we are not alone.
That organization, the Voice of the Martyrs. We will share their stories. We will mobilize the body of Christ to stand together with our brothers and sisters who face persecution wherever it happens. We will serve our persecuted family through practical and spiritual assistance. And we will carry on the mission of the one who called us, Jesus Christ, who said, "Go and make disciples of all nations, no matter the cost."
Ziua, ce faceți la plimbare? Vremea asta? Vă duc copilul?
Da.
Oh, ce drăguție. Fetiță? Fetiță, nu?
On February 29, 1948, a pastor was kidnapped from the streets of Romania. He would disappear for 14 years and endure horrific torture for his refusal to renounce Christ. And in the midst of this suffering, he witnessed the incredible power of Christ's love.
After being arrested, I spent the next 3 years in a solitary cell. It was enough to drive any man mad. The martyr Savonarola wrote, "There are those who believe in God, and those who, just as sincerely, believe that they believe." Now I had to ask myself, did I believe in God?
That we are persecuted but not abandoned. So please do not abandon us.
My wife Sabina had also been arrested.
Deschide ușa! Sabina Burbrand!
My son Mihai, left orphaned. Sabina would spend the next 18 months in a slave labor camp on the Danube.
Sabina! Sabina!
In these my darkest hours, my only hope was in prayer. Of course, in prison, prayer was forbidden. In spite of the beatings, I prayed every day. I prayed God would give me strength to endure. And of course, I prayed for my family. My feet were beaten so often and so brutally, I would never walk normally again. I'm sorry if a crocodile eats a man, but I cannot reproach the crocodile. I had learned the same can be said of my torturers. Communism had stripped them of any form of humanity, and only God's love could restore them.
Iar te rogi, mă? Iar te rogi? Ești tâmpit! Băiatul tău nu mai are casă, nevastă ta e arestată! Viața ta e distrusă, mă, băiatule, și tu te rogi în continuare la Dumnezeul al tău, care nici măcar n-are chip! Pentru ce căcate mai rogi, mă? Pentru ce te mai rogi tu acum?
Mă rugam pentru tine.
I hated the sin, but never the sinner. And some, we even won to Christ.
이 초등학교에서 우리는 선교사들은 모두
In
승냥이들이라고
primary school, we were taught that all missionaries were terrorists.
나중엔
They
잘해두지만
told us that a missionary will be nice to you at first, but when they get you into their homes, then they will kill you and eat your
선교사들은
liver.
모두 승냥이떼라고 배웠습니다. 우리 마을에는 먹을 것도 없고
There was no food and no work in my village.
다른 사람처럼
Like
산소님이다.
some others, I snuck across the mountain border into China.
맥에 팔려고 버섯을 땄는데
I picked mushrooms in the hopes of selling them in Chiangbai. I don't speak Chinese at all.
한 사람을 만났습니다.
But in the mountains, I met a man.
그이 팔 거면 내가 팔아주가시오.
그 사람이
He said,
내가 딴 버섯을
I can sell
팔아준다고
those for you. And he didn't cheat me. He gave me all the money from the sale. At that time, I didn't know he was Pastor Han. Over the next 2 years, I went back several times. Each time, Pastor Han helped me. One day, I asked why he would do this, for he himself was in great danger for assisting a North Korean. It is because I am a Christian, he said. That made me afraid. Was he going to eat my liver?
하나님은 살아계셔. 모든
One day, Pastor Han said to me, God is real. There is hope for every person. I could not believe he would say that word. God. Nobody says that word. We know it is an act of treason. To speak the name of God can lead to soldiers coming in the night. There will be no trial. No journalists will write about you, and no one will ever dare ask where you have gone.
하루는
One day I asked Pastor Han for a Bible. He knew that if I was caught with a Bible, my life would be in danger. But over time, I persuaded him. I showed the Bible to my wife. At first, she refused to even look at it. Why would you bring that here? She cried. She knew that if anyone reported that you had even glanced at a Bible, you would be arrested. And not just you. You and all your relatives sent to the concentration camps for years and years and years.
시간이 지나면서 제 아내도
Over time, my wife too
하나님이
learned that God
살아계신다는
is
것을 알게
real.
되었지요. 제 아내도
She found hope.
희망을 갖게 된 것입니다. 그러고 나서
And then I shared the word of God with my best friend.
너도 이 채권을 할 거야.
저는
It was very dangerous for me to share.
너무 위험했습니다.
다시는 연락하지 말라.
우리 모두한테 좋은 소식이야.
It was very dangerous for him to listen. One day in the summer of 2016, we heard that some North Korean assassins were being honored by the government, rewarded for their good work for killing a terrorist missionary in Chiangbai. We knew it was Pastor Han. Who else could it be?
우리는 너무 두려웠습니다.
We were frightened.
그들이
Did they know he was my friend? Did they know I had met with him many
내가
times?
여러 번 한 목사를 만났다는 것을 알아냈을까?
이러다 우리도 죽는 거 아닙니까?
아, 방영 떠는 소리.
한 목사님은
Pastor Han gave his life, but he gave hope to me and to many other North Koreans.
북한 주민들에게
And despite the ever-present danger, many of us will continue to share the message that God is real.
우리들은 하나님이 살아계신다는 사실을 계속해서 다른 사람들에게
We
말해.
hope that our sacrifice, when the day comes, will be worthwhile,
우리도
just
희생할 가치가
like it
있다고
was
생각합니다.
for Pastor Han.
한 목사님이 그러셨던 것처럼 말입니다.